For all the best tips and strategies, check out the Ultimate Utility app. Links are available in the description. So one of the most popular requests I get from my channel is to do some best class setup videos. I tend to shy away from these types of videos since a majority of YouTubers already cover them, and usually with terrible advice and outrageous video titles, such as use this class setup to turn into an absolute god, or some other equally ridiculous Mickey Mouse bull squash. However, with the class setup I'm about to go over, I think I can shed enough light on the topic to make it worth your while. So let's get right to the class itself, and then I'll give lots of examples on how to utilize it, as well as a special cameo segment by another YouTuber. Now the class itself is called the C4 Sandwich. There's three main components of the class that you absolutely must run: the Expeditionary Division, the Saboteur Basic Training Skill, and the Satchel Charge. So first up, the Expeditionary Division. In order to maximize this class's true potential, you need to have your division fully maxed out at level 4. Level 3 grants you the ability to throw equipment faster, further, and while sprinting. Now reaching level 4 allows you to resupply equipment from killed enemies. I'll be showcasing exactly how these affect our class in just a second. The next must-have item is the Saboteur Basic Training Skill. This skill shortens the fuse of explosives and gives you an extra piece of lethal equipment. Now if you missed my last video, I did a thorough review of this basic training skill. I'll link it both in the description as well as the outro. I highly recommend watching that video in order to understand what exactly this skill does for you. Now lastly, you'll need the Satchel Charge. Take note that the Satchel Charge is unlocked extremely late at level 49. So if you find yourself enjoying this class I'm about to unveil, be sure to use an unlock token on it should you choose to prestige. Now other than those three things, the rest of the class is up to you. You'll have the choice of a tactical item due to the Expeditionary Division, and I'd highly suggest the Concussion Grenade since it has the largest blast radius. For a weapon, my advice is an SMG due to it having the faster movement speed. My personal preference is the Type 100 or the PPSH. For a secondary, I always use the machine pistol, but again, it's entirely up to you. So that's the entire class setup. I'm sure many of you can already anticipate the carnage it's about to release. Let's break down some of our choices first though. Now believe it or not, some people are not very savvy with how the Satchel Charge works in World War II. Nearly every video I put out talking about the Satchel Charge, someone always asks me how I detonate it without whipping out the actual detonator. You can achieve this by double tapping the square button on PlayStation 4 or X on the Xbox. Simply toss it and hit square twice in rapid succession. Now if you're running two Satchel Charges, you can't detonate these with the device unless both are deployed, which isn't exactly what we want. However, the double tap method still obviously works. So you can throw one, double tap to detonate, and then safely throw the other one and repeat in the same manner. It's thanks to the Saboteur Basic Training Skill that we're now allowed to detonate these in mid-air. Without this skill, the Satchel Charge must first stick to a surface before detonation. So with the mechanics of the Satchel Charge out of the way, let me show you just how beneficial the Expeditionary Division is. As I mentioned earlier, the third tier ability for this division grants you to throw items faster, further, and while sprinting. So here's an example of me trying to run with the Satchel Charge without the Expeditionary Division. As you can see, it's very sluggish and can often result in your death. With the division, however, I'm able to easily sprint just as if I were running with my weapon, and this is extremely beneficial as you'll soon see. Now when it comes to chucking these C4 sandwiches, the Expeditionary Division reigns supreme. Here's me attempting to throw them as far as possible without the division. It does go a decent distance, but nothing to write home about. Now obviously, the further up you look before tossing, the further it goes. Now here's me attempting with the Expeditionary Division. The arc is much more refined and the Satchel Charge traverses a much greater distance. So I marked the longest throws with my bullet fire on the ground. This furthest line here is with the Expeditionary Division, and it was with my back completely against the wall where I started from. Now this one is the furthest line I got without the Expeditionary Division. As you can tell, it's not quite 50% further distance, but it's pretty close. The moral of the story is, if you're chucking lethal items without the Expeditionary Division, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Now lastly, each kill you achieve with a maxed out Expeditionary Division grants you a resupply of one lethal and one tactical item. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter if it's a kill with your actual gun or with an explosive item. Either will still allow you to replenish your items. In prior Call of Duty games, only non-explosive kills would replenish lethal items, but this is not the case here in World War II. Simply walk over the dead body of the person you just killed and the replenishment will take effect. Of note, it's not possible to fully refill both your lethal items with one kill. You can only replenish one lethal and one tactical item per bag. So now you're all set to start dishing out severe pain and dismemberment. With all these mechanics on our side, you can safely roam about the map while sprinting and toss your C4 sandwiches in everyone's face. Upon achieving a kill, you can now replenish your lost lethal item and continue on your explosive spree. Essentially, it's a non-stop barrage of explosives just waiting to tick your enemies off. My favorite part about this class is that you can easily dispose of window campers that you otherwise may have struggled with. Regardless of just how high they may be, you should be able to chuck a satchel charge right into their glory hole. So watch here as my teammate gets picked off by sniper fire. I pause for a moment beside this wall to see if he shoots again, but I couldn't quite get him to expose himself. I decide to push up a little bit further, and upon doing so, he snipes yet another one of my teammates. I then push once more and he fires 2 shots at me as I advance, which of course reveals his location. I then casually fling my satchel charge right in his window and cold cock him into oblivion. Now I do have to warn you that it's incredibly easy to double tap these satchel charges and blow your load too early. This results in the demise of both you and your enemy. More commonly though, your enemy will often hit you with 1 or 2 bullets right as you detonate the charge, which also results in your death as well as theirs. Now don't forget to utilize your tactical item as well to help aid you in the resulting explosion. With your enemy slowed to a crawl, it makes them a sitting duck for the follow-up satchel charge. It's very easy to overlook that your tactical item also gets replenished every kill, so be sure to keep an eye out on when you've got your concussion grenade at your disposal. Now don't be alarmed if and when you get hate messages from using this class. No one enjoys dying to a one-hit kill item, and the satchel charge is no exception. In fact, this strategy causes so much rage that your enemy may eventually get fed up and either join you in the explosive mayhem or attempt to actually counter it. I ran into fellow YouTuber and streamer Carnage Yanks just this morning as I was getting clips for this very video. So apparently, he doesn't know who I am and I was doing satchel charges only the entire match. I think I managed to kill him about 15 times between 2 games with my explosions. I did notice that he had a YouTube emblem, so after I got off for the morning, I looked up his channel. Lo and behold, he was actually streaming at the time. So I watched the 2 matches we fought against each other from his perspective, and I couldn't stop laughing at his reactions. I can't help but think that everyone that dies by a satchel charge reacts in this same manner. By the second match, he was so frustrated that he actually changed his entire strategy to attempt to throw his own satchel charges. So I asked him permission to use some of his footage, and I put together a little rage montage of Carnage Yanks. And by the way, a link to his channel can be found in the description.
Thanks for stopping by the stream, man. What just killed me? What just killed me? My man's got that damn expeditionary satchel charge thing. It's so super annoying. Let's go on double tackers. Yo, what's my weapon class? Well, right now I'm just using. I died from the damn satchel charge again. Right now I'm just using the. Terrible, man. So I know the feeling. It's also a really bad. That damn guy. This damn guy with the satchel charge literally keeps taking us out, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. We got an emergency airdrop. My man literally just keeps dropping these damn things on me. I wish I had an Xbox. I do. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Anything good? Nothing. Oh! We got an artillery. Artillery ready for orders. And these guys literally just keep joining, or keep freaking using those satchel charges on me, man. That's super annoying. All right, let's call these. Okay, we finished that. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna use this expeditionary class just to annoy that guy on the other team because he kept annoying me last game. You finish your assignments and got this game. We 100% need to see more content added. This guy with the satchel charge is just destroying me, man. Yo, what's going on, Wallach? I finally proceeded to make it too. Oh, that's gonna kill me. Oh my god, there's nades all over the place. Do you like the DLC gun? The Volk one, the one I'm using right now? This gun is literally overpowered, man. I love this gun. This is the go-to. I'm telling you, man, this guy with the satchel charge is gonna get on my nerves pretty soon, man. We can do that. We'll play a little bit of resistance. I'm down. This guy with the damn satchel charge, I swear, man. HJ Dugan is better. Final cut. It's a little different than some of the other YouTubers that. Why did mine not explode? My C4 literally didn't explode. But I say this like almost every single stream when you guys like talk about Dismo. If I could just have, my man, just this guy literally isn't even using a gun. He's just running around with that damn C4. That's annoying. Demolition's live now.
So needless to say, the rage potential for this class is huge. Now I'm sure everyone watching this will be quick to claim that this is beyond overpowered. Keep in mind that as a content creator, I'm only showcasing my highlights here. Just because I portray it as extremely powerful doesn't mean I actually do well with it. In fact, in those 2 matches I played against Carnage Yanks, my team lost both of them. In the first match, I actually went negative, going 18 and 19. In the second match, I barely went positive, going 18 and 14. Now take note, I was doing only satchel charges if I could help it. I think this strategy is only an issue currently because it's new. And of course, in Call of Duty, new means popular. But let's face it, the satchel charges were next to useless before this change. Not to mention that you can use this same basic training skill to spam other lethal items, such as grenades. If anything, the grenade spam would be worse than throwing these satchel charges since these have to be manually detonated. You also need to sacrifice your only perk in order to achieve this strategy. I can't see many people giving up their precious infantry division coupled with primed or other such skills to run a satchel charge. Once this new feeling wears off, you'll probably only see these classes in the war game mode. Now lastly, I need to make mention that a fully leveled armor division or the hunker basic training skill will counter a single satchel explosion. In my own experience though, most people don't even attempt to counter these, even though it's easily done. They'll send you hate messages for utilizing such a strategy, but all it takes is a flak jacket class to ruin this parade. From what I've noticed, you'll likely get 1 or 2 games with complete dominance before half the lobby catches on and goes flakjacking on you, in which case you'll receive nothing but hit markers unless you chuck both of the charges at the same guy. So if you aren't willing to use armored or hunker as a counter, then it must not be that much of a problem to you. I also see a lot of comparisons to Black Ops 2 C4s. If you played that game, you'll remember how potent those things were. What people always fail to remember is that the airbursting option was actually a built-in ability for the C4 in that game. In World War II, you need a perk to do it. That's like saying you need to use a perk in order to gain the ability to cook a frag grenade. So in Black Ops 2, all you had to do is equip C4 to dominate. In this game, you need to build your entire strategy around it to gain that airburst ability. And that, as they say, is that. While this C4 class is great for catching enemies off guard or disrupting a camper's solitude, eventually your annoyance will have a negative effect and cause your enemies to change their strategy. So be sure to equip a weapon that you're decently skilled with, so you can still remain in the fight once this eventual counterattack rears its ugly head. The best part about this class is that it brings out the primal rage of your enemies, sending them straight to Butthurt Valley. Now I for one find this entire strategy a refreshing change of pace to the game. If you go around only using satchel charges, you likely won't come out with good stats, despite the fun you'll have doing it. The true potential of this class comes as a supplement to your gun. Focus on your gun skill primarily, but don't be afraid to toss a hot C4 sandwich in someone's pie hole. So let me know in the comments if you think this class setup is overpowered or simply new and thus perceived as overpowered at the moment. In my opinion, I'd rather be blown away with an airbursted satchel charge than be quick-scoped.